Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Create TV. In case you haven't been watching, I've been doing a few videos here and there. I try to do 3 videos a day, but I've taken a little bit of a break so I can focus on drawing and writing comic books. But today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the news that I saw regarding DC Studios and their progression of what they're going to be doing in their next phase and trying to rebuild the DC universe in the movies. But before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. Also hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and please share with your friends. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So recently I saw some news regarding the DC lineup, the new DC lineup. Honestly, I wasn't overly excited about it, mostly because the titles of a lot of the projects seem a bit off to me. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Superman. That's my favorite character, and so, of course, I anticipated that the first thing that would come out of DC in terms of the reboot is a Superman movie. And so, Superman Legacy, however, I'm not a huge fan of the term legacy being implied or used in a Superman movie. Only because Superman is the DC universe, and he's not simply a legacy. Now, if they're referring to simply his heritage, the Kryptonian heritage, and him balancing his Kryptonian heritage, as James Gunn and Peter Safran have said in previous interviews or previous statements, if it really is addressing that and him remaining Superman and remaining the focal point of the DC universe, then I can understand what they're doing with the whole legacy thing. But I feel that, honestly, a better lineup is one that would involve starting off with Superman, and I don't know, call it Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and then you have a Green Lantern movie or Wonder Woman movie, and then you have, like, whichever one comes first. If you do a Wonder Woman movie, the next one should be Green Lantern, and then the Flash. If not that, then they should do Martian Manhunter. But when it comes to the lineup, Batman should be very far on the list, and from what I can tell, it looks like it is. The Batman, however, the fact that it's going to be taking place, the current Matt Reeves version of Batman is going to be essentially an Elseworlds project. It is kind of funny, but I understand why. It's because of the fact that you try to establish a Superman, if you try to establish Superman in that area, in that format, it's not going to look as cohesive. It's going to look a bit off. And obviously, Matt Reeves, from what he had said in previous interviews and statements as well, is that he didn't want the project involving any connection to other DC properties in his Batman movie. He wanted it to be a standalone, and so, from what I can tell, it looks like that's what they're going for. But when it comes to the DC lineup, this is what I saw recently. I actually read this article on Bounding into Comics. 1 second. Okay. So on Bounding into Comics, it says DC Studios CEO James Gunn. Oh, first of all, the article is written by John F. Trent. I hope I said the name correctly. I'm not wearing my glasses. Okay, so DC Studios CEO James Gunn attempted to address age discrepancies between Superman and Batman for his and Peter Safran's vision of the DCU. Now, this is something I actually wanted to know about too. Is that when it came to this whole project, when it comes to DC, what I noticed was that they tried to make Superman, if they're introducing Damian Wayne later on in the Batman movie that's going to introduce the Batman that's going to be the official Batman. Making the official Batman have a child that is Damian Wayne means that obviously they have to already have Dick Grayson, and they have to have Jason Todd and Tim Drake already, present. So if they show Damian Wayne, they better have Dick Grayson as Nightwing, and they better have Red Hood already in existence, and they have to already have all these other characters that are part of the Bat family. Stephanie Brown, all sorts of characters already a part of the Bat family. And if not, it kind of tarnishes any concept that they could possibly come up with. And Superman, now the only thing I could think of is if Superman is going to be a prequel movie. Now personally, I wouldn't mind that. That'd be kind of cool. And then have later on, because for one, it'll look like it will actually present Superman in a way that if they hire someone that is younger, the next time you see him show up in the Justice League movie or whatever, he'll still be the same age, or in appearance he'll be similar, close in age, super to to you'll still look young, basically. My rambling there. Anyway, Safran added that Superman represents truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. And before that, he had said that basically the Superman legacy at the end of January with Safran, when he stated it at the end of January, he said the film is really the launch of the DCU, and it focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. So, whenever I see this, it's kind of interesting, but it continues. With our stories, we want to take it away from good guy versus bad guy. Now, this is the problem. This is what everyone wants to see, is good guy versus bad guy. All they've done so far is, you know, the middle ground, the gray area. Every hero movie is the gray area, and Superman does not belong in anywhere near that. In fact, that's what they already did with the Man of Steel. That was part of the mistake, and I'm wary. I'm wary of them making the same mistakes they did before. And I'm a DC fan, and personally, I'm always going to enjoy most DC movies, but that was one of the big mistakes they had with, like, they had a wasted casting when they had Henry Cavill. They had Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck may not have been the best Batman, but he did well with what he got, except for the problem was the story. The stories were never very good, and the direction was very odd, and very much had, from every movie, whether it was Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, each movie was very off. Now, Wonder Woman actually was a great movie. Personally, I enjoyed it. Except for Wonder Woman 84, that one was just sad. And then Gunn concluded, there are really terrible villains like Gorilla Grodd or the Joker, and then there's everybody in between. So there are all these shades of gray, which allows us to tell complex stories. This is the Superman I want to see. This one right here. This image, it was always the one I wanted to see. Okay, so after providing details on Superman Legacy, Gunn would also announce a film about the Batman family titled The Brave and the Bold. Yeah, this is the one I was saying, was that they're introducing Damian Wayne, and it's not too bad, but the issue that I always had with it was the fact that I don't like Damian Wayne. He's like one of the worst Robins. And now there are many, I'm sure, that might enjoy that. Personally, the only way I will enjoy it is if they have Dick Grayson, if he is present. But the problem is I've been wanting to see a proper Robin, Dick Grayson storyline told in the movies. Like, I want to see it done right. I want to see it done well, and I want to see the progression of him becoming Nightwing. But if they're not going to do that, that's fine, as long as he's introduced as Nightwing in the movies. If they're going to introduce Damian Wayne, they need to have all the other Robins. So it continues, after providing details on Superman Legacy, Gunn would also announce a film. Yeah, oh sorry, I already read that. Gunn revealed, this is the introduction of the DCU's Batman. It is not Robert Pattinson. It is not Ben Affleck. We are working with Robert on The Batman, Part 2, with Matt Reeves. And we're working with Ben Affleck, who has been a part of our team trying to bring things together, and he really wants to direct one of our projects. We're excited for him to do that. And, I'm glad that they want to bring him or have him included. It's not something I'm against. It's just, I hope that he has, the heart for it, and I hope that he has the actual expertise needed to, do the job. I'm not one to doubt when it comes to the talents of one of these actors. So I've seen a lot of them actually direct some of the best projects. In regards to comic book movies, a lot of actors tend to be pretty good at it. In fact, many of them will actually study the source material and adapt it properly. It's rare, but it happens. I've seen it. They did it in Smallville, where Smallville actually adapted certain moments that were pretty good. Superman and Lois had certain episodes that were actually directed by actors. So I can't really knock that. It's not something that I'm going to be against. So he continued, this is a story of Damian Wayne, who's Batman's actual son that he didn't know existed for 8 to 10 years of his life. He was raised as a little murderer and assassin. He's my favorite Robin. That's what he said. That's what James Gunn had to say about that, and I don't know how he is anyone's favorite Robin. He was the worst Robin I've ever seen. Okay, so it continues. It's based on the Grant Morrison comic book run, one of my favorite Batman runs. We're putting it all together right now, gun relayed. Safran added, this is going to feature other members of the extended Bat family. Okay. Just because we feel like they've been out of the Batman stories in the theaters for far too long. Indeed. So yeah, I want to see Dick Grayson. I want to see him beat up Damian Wayne. Even though he's a kid, it would be kind of funny to see. I want to see Tim Drake. I want to see Red Hood, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon specifically. And she needs to be a redhead. She needs to be an actual redhead, not, a black girl with dyed hair and not a... I'm getting tired of seeing the recasting or whatever. Or racial casting. It's very racially motivated, no matter how much they think it's not, to try to get rid of girls who are ginger. It's like if they want to bring in proper characters, they need to do it right. And of course, make Stephanie Brown, blonde. Everything needs to be as it was. Now, if they want to have an Asian Robin, they can do that. If they want to do anything like that, it's fine. Tim Drake, I always imagine Ryan Potter playing a good Tim Drake. So honestly, whatever happens, happens. But I want to see it done right. That's all I want to see. Then you have, given this information, it says, okay, it continues here. Given this information, there was concern that Batman would be much older than Superman in the DCU. Clearly, Batman has already had a kid, and one expects that he's spent years already with other members of the family who have graduated from Robins to their own personas, such as Dick Grayson as Nightwing or Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. Batman and Superman are usually depicted as contemporaries who, alongside Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter, they lead the Justice League. Yep. I imagine Superman creating the Justice League alongside Wonder Woman and Batman. Superman has the vision. Batman has the money. Wonder Woman is part of the heart behind it. She is the reason for the fight. Or really, she keeps the fight going. So it continues. Gunn addressed these concerns during a meeting with select press outlets, and according to Collider, noted that the film is not about Superboy, it's about Superman. He also revealed that Superman's working. He's a reporter. He's at the Daily Planet again. We're coming into a world where superheroes exist and have existed. Gunn then acknowledged, so does that mean Batman might be a couple years older than Superman? Yes, it could be. Now, mind you, I've always thought Batman was a bit older, but maybe like 5 to 6 years. That's about it. Heck, I'd even be okay with 10 years older. But of course, by the time Batman and Superman meet, they need to already have known each other for like 5 to 6 years. By the time Damian Wayne is introduced, then Superman needs to already know Dick Grayson very well. So that's the problem that many people are having. DC Studios CEO previously indicated that Cavill was canned from his role as Superman because he was too old. When questioned about when questioned about why Cavill would be recast, Gunn wrote on Twitter, "As I said yesterday, it is very simple. He's a different age." This is the tweet. These are the tweets. Someone named Lawrence Furry Zero said, "James Gunn, when you show us the movie coming out, will you explain why Cavill is getting recast, please?" Then he said, "As I said yesterday, it is very simple. He's a different age." In response to another user, he wrote, "Superman's not meeting the major characters for the first time. He's not meeting them for the first time either. He's merely younger." Okay, so Scott Christie Jones, S. Christie Jones, at S. Christie Jones. It says, "Son, you said what it will be. Him meeting people for the first time is an origin story. How much did Disney pay you to screw over the one thing DC had going for it?" And it says, James Gunn said, "He's not meeting the major characters for the first time either. He's merely younger." While announcing his DC Studios state, he also told the wow, that was weird. He also told the Hollywood Reporter, "I like Henry. I think he's a great guy. I think he's getting dicked around by a lot of people, including the former regime at this company. But this Superman is not Henry, for a number of reasons." Gunn hasn't elaborated on those reasons or what what those reasons are except for his age. And given that it appears Gunn is perfectly fine featuring an older Batman, it doesn't really make sense why he would part ways with Cavill simply because of his age. While Gunn reportedly denied that he's not doing a film about Superboy, it's quite possible that he could be adapting Tom Taylor's abysmal Superman Son of Kal-El that was recently canned, seemingly for its poor sale numbers. Yeah. In that series, Clark Kent's son, Jonathan, is made gay and turned into an activist for every degenerate and hedonistic cause that Taylor could drum out of his fingers. Sorry about that. Gunn's DCU slate announcement confirmed that one of the leading figures for the destruction of the DC Comics, Tom King, is one of the chief architects of the slate. It wouldn't be a surprise that they brought in Tom Taylor to fundamentally destroy Superman on film, as they have done in the comics. Now, mind you, I always think that sometimes writers are told what to do by the studios or by their bosses, and oftentimes they have no control, and they're told to essentially create this. And sometimes I feel that it could be that they are essentially creating satire of what they see today. Now, as long as they don't have that same conundrum with the new DCU, it could do well. But that's just me being very optimistic. And so the article ends is, what do you think, or what do you make of Gunn's comments about the age discrepancy between Batman and Superman? Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the age discrepancy, mainly because of the fact that if they're going to show Damian Wayne, I want to see the Super Sons. I mean, that's what I want to see. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that either. Now, but the fact is, it would be entertaining, to say the least. However, like I said, when it comes to this whole thing with DC, I'm not a big stickler for when it comes to how it's going to all play out. I'm not a huge fan of the lineup. I've seen it. I'll put an image of it right here. I've did it before, just to remind you. Here it is. The slate is not that bad, but it's not exactly what I'm hoping for. Now, when it comes to Booster Gold, of course, I want to see a Booster Gold series. Now that looks like fun. In fact, the next video I'm going to do is going to be about Booster Gold. But when it comes to a lot of the things that I've seen, it's hard to say. This is why I'm focusing on writing my own comic books and focusing on creating videos of art and whatever I want to do. In regards to our channel, we're trying to create content that is positive, inspiring, and I hope that DC follows that path in the future when it comes to these movies and shows. I don't want to see a gray area. I want to see heroes versus the bad guys, like heroes versus villains. Truth, justice, and the American way, as he has said. Superman is that, and to eliminate that core value of good versus evil, I don't know. I feel that it will bring things to a crashing halt. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching Create TV. Please subscribe to this channel and ring that bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. Also hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and please share with your friends. I'll see you next time on Create TV. Bye.